states. There's been so many tournaments won on that bait.
Look at all the damage Timmy Horton did with those.
Yeah, dude, I know.
No, I don't know how many guys remember Tim Horton or not.
He was picking up pizzas early, right? That was a
I don't know if he did the
shad bite.
I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure he came in like 3 hours early in a tournament and ordered pizza and sat at the dock. And I'm pretty sure that was a fat-free shad.
It was on Champlain or Oneida. But I don't remember if that was a fat-free shad deal or not. I don't even see. I'm actually on Pradco's website. But I'm going to say it. Pradco, fix the fat-free shad and citrus shad and fix that old school original shad pattern that had the red, yellow, blue hue on the back. Like, quit making it look so dang bright.
I've heard washed out. Talk about it that they've heard it. They know it's wrong.
I would hope so. I would hope.
All right, let's move on.
Hang on one second. I got to deal with something
before we get to complaining, because there's a lot of people that our last episode had a lot of complaining.
Well, fix it, Pradco. Like you guys.
Fix it, Pradco.
Fix it, Pradco.
Do you want me to move on to the next bait?
No, just hang on one second. Let me just deal with what I got.
Hurry up. Don't make dead time.
Okay. Next thing I'm going to go into weed cranking. Because I know you don't have a whole lot to say about this.
No.
Weed cranking is something that I know a lot of people don't do. And when I say weed cranking, like we are weed cranking 12, 16, 20 foot deep weed edges. So the main weed bed might top out at 4 feet, 3 feet, 2 feet. You know, it's not mats. We're not cranking the outside edge of mats, but I know you're familiar with that outside weed edge that most guys would maybe run a drop shot down, whip around a Carolina rig, crank way off the end of it. Weed cranking, I could probably do a whole podcast on just weed cranking. But, you know, some baits have gotten discontinued. Thanks, Pradco. I used to throw DD14 a lot, weed cranking. But the last I looked, they were discontinued. But
they are.
Norman crankbaits. I don't know what it all is about a Norman crankbait that makes it do. I said that earlier. I am not a crankbait designer, a crankbait user. This bait I really like if I'm over the top of the grass, but I'm going to throw it in there because it is a Norman that I do use on that outside edge, but it doesn't do what the other two I'm about to show. But this will come through grass. You can worm it through the grass, and that's where it's so important. Every handle crank's deliberate, and you're going to weed crank very differently than you do any other crankbait bite. You're going to down power your rod one whole power for what you'd normally throw this bait on, and you are going to throw braid to a leader or straight braid. And about anybody's 20-pound test probably is the best, as long as it's coarse. You do not want super smooth braid. You want that braid to cut the grass as easily as possible. So I'm talking you're cranking through eelgrass, cabbage, milfoil, coontail, weed edges. So
what weed braids edge, would you suggest when you're talking coarse braid? If people don't understand that,
I really like SX1. I've used 832 before. For years I used 832. Power Pro works. You want a 4 or 6 carrier, 5 carrier. You don't want an 8 carrier, 10 carrier type line, you know. Yeah, if you're punching or doing something like that and you want to reduce noise in the water, yeah, that braid is important. But with the whole point of this is you have that lighter rod so you don't over crank your crankbait into the weeds. These next two baits, they're both Norman crankbaits. They back up And they literally comes in, you stop it, and it backs up like this. It doesn't spiral. It just backs up like this. And you're essentially crankbaiting a bluegill pattern through the grass.
So what he's talking about with that coarser braid is it's acting like a saw blade and cutting through the grass.
Yeah. Yeah. What you don't want is to try to throw this thing through a weed bed. Yeah. You're going to get disappointed real quick. You need to have stuff. You want to crank things that have inconsistent edges, little points, little fingers. You want to crank those edges that aren't hard walls, because that you can do with any crankbait and just not touch the weeds. This is all about going through those sparse areas in a technique that the fish don't hardly ever see. Deep little N, DD22. Deep little N's probably the one I use the most. It's got the right depth on that 20-pound braid. It gets down deep. I'm hitting 12 feet with this if I want, but really you're weed cranking. If the fish are down at the base of the weeds, one, it's going to be hard to crank the bait through it, and two, you might as well fish a jig or a sea rig, whatever you call bubba rig. This is probably my number one go-to weed cranking crankbait. It's the only time I use these crankbaits. It's the only time I pull that box out is to go weed cranking. I do it here on a lot of the shallower, natural, weedy lakes where you get a lot of the lake is that 20 foot of water, but anything 12 feet and shallower's got vegetation. And yeah, it's something I know I told you, you really need to try this. If you got those fish are feeding on bluegills because there's no shad in that body of water and they like eating a crankbait there, I would definitely do this. And you will be learning how to do this. You will be a better crankbait fisherman cranking rocks or wood by doing this, because it takes the sensitivity of the braid to feel what you're doing. You have to learn to be patient. You have to learn that, okay, that's the other thing with that coarser braid, you get more of a return back of that you're coming through grass, and you can start to feel that bait is coming against it. This bait also pulls really hard relative to its size and depth compared to other baits. So you have a very positive feel of what's going on down there, and you learn how to be deliberate real quick. And you learn how to be accurate with your cast. Best thing that ever happened to me for weed cranking, 360. And I'd say if you don't 100%. Have 360, landscape mode on any forward-facing sonar, you can, and then place your cast. I would say, if anything, guys are better at that than they were ever in fishing. Guys are really accurate in open water casting. So that's that. And then my last one's going to be speed cranking.
You held up the DD22. There's a reason. I've got 3 of them here. And I don't use it. I will use it weed edge cranking, but I dredge it more than you do.
Yep.
It's a dredging crankbait too.
Yeah, the DD22, you can get down there. You just can't get into the weeds as much. That's why I like the DD14.
No, exactly.
Had the size, had the power of the size of the bait, but didn't have the depth of the 22. Yeah.
So the 3 colors that I throw in the DD22 a lot here are table rock, summertime color, something, especially the desert lakes where, you're dealing with smallies, that chartreuse and purple really stands out. They murder that thing. I think the best color ever made in that crankbait, lavender shad. I don't know how well you can. There we go. That's a little bit better right there.
Lavender shad's a great color.
I think it's the best color they ever made in that crankbait.
That is such a good,
very bone,
good shad pattern. Crankbait.
It is. And then early spring, winter, if I want fish to react down in that 16 to 18 foot range, and they're eating crawdads. I don't remember exactly what this craw pattern's called, but it's for the ones who can't see it, they're listening on Apple or Spotify. Red on the bottom, black on the top, but it's got red glitter all the way through.
Yeah, 2/3 of it's black. It's a black with red crankbait. It isn't a red.
It's a red belly. It's a red belly. It's a black crankbait with a red belly and red glitter all the way through. But those three colors are pretty much what I throw with the DD22.
I see something right away too that I didn't touch on that bait that you just held up. This is a stock DD22. Look at the hook hangers on that thing. Try to get it so it's stock hooks versus those hooks you see on Adams. Guys that are listening, not watching. Adams hooks are downsized. That is something that I never thought of.
One size smaller.
That I learned from you is when you do wooden weed cranking too. That's where I do change treble hooks because absolutely 100% that treble hook being downsized definitely aids in you worming that through the vegetation.
And not just grass, but brush too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you talked about colors here.
And
that whole week.
To piggyback off the hook size thing, this Nishine lure, the Nishine lure company that I was talking about, the Japanese company, this is a size 8 treble on this crank. This crank, I'll hold it upside next to the Fritz side. Very similar in size to the Fritz side, but look at the size difference in hooks.
And that's a 6 or a 5.
This is a size 8. Side. This is a 5. 5 and an 8. And that's the whole reason I was the last time I was cranking with this crankbait here, I was cranking brush. And you hang up way less when you go down 1 or 2 sizes. Yes, certain crankbaits, you will affect the action by going too small. Not all of them. You have to learn which crankbaits you can do it with and which ones you can't.
I would say, though, that I guess I never came across a crankbait that didn't work fine downsizing a treble hook. You upsize a treble hook, you start dealing with fouling. If you'd use a bigger, shorter shank, like KVD was big on that, I'm going to use a bigger short shank, Mustad triple grip, or whatever. And it's like you really mess with it. And I think if anything that's going to mess with your crankbait, adding weight hurts it more than subtracting weight. Because
100% agree.
How a crankbait works, it's the flotation of the body against the drag of the bill cutting through the water relative to the line tie. So soon as you take and tip that bait more horizontal by adding more weight to the body relative to your line tie by a bigger treble hook, you change that dynamic. Taking weight away just makes the bait float more butt up, and it just seems to work better.
But downsizing a hook will create a little bit more roll. If a bait is keeled so much with the belly weight, if you downsize too much, it will roll more because you have less weight in the bottom of the bait.
I can't say that I've ever noticed a one size smaller make a difference.
No, but if you go 2 or 3, it's going to change it. I've seen
one size bigger completely wreck the action on a crankbait.
100%.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So my point is that you're okay going down a size. And most of the baits, because it seems what the consumer wants is they want the biggest hook they can get on there without it hanging up all the time. And I feel like most crankbaits you buy should have a size smaller, at least rear treble hook, if not front treble hook as well. But all right, let's talk about speed cranking. It's something that a mutual friend of mine tried to tell me for years was such a good technique. And
mutual friend of ours.
Of ours. I don't want to name drop. But
and he ain't wrong.
He seems to know what he's talking about most of the time, no matter how bad I don't want to agree that he knows what he's talking about most of the time. I'm just going to say that his buddy taught him how to do it. It wasn't him. It was that guy named Tim. Tim, I think this was Tim's idea. I don't think it was Matt's. Anyway, those guys have done a lot about this. So if you want to know how to speed crank, go watch Tactical Bassin video about how to speed crank. They even designed a crankbait to do it.
And I'm going to hold it up in a minute.
And you're going to hold it up. I refuse to buy one because I just don't want to give them the satisfaction that I went and bought one. I'm like, you can't send me one? They won't send me one.
And I'm not as dumb as you because I catch fish on it.
I don't care that much. I'm stubborn. But anyway, speed cranking. That's one thing that this little Z crank, back to this one. This is the Z3. This is a mean little shallower water finesse speed crankbait.
So show
To
the
the
bill
point
on
that
that.
I called them and said, "This thing, you need to try it," because I didn't. They had never done a video on it. I'm like, this is legit.
Show the bill on that crankbait a little bit better.
There's the bill.
No. Yes.
Long and narrow.
That's why.
Yep. You're right. But look at the angle of it.
Yep.
You know, you'll notice that angle more and more in a second. To me, because this is sort of like the original speed crankbaits from those guys. I want to make sure, and I read these so that I don't misquote myself. Deep X 300 and Deep 6 Megabass.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really not that big a bait, but look at that bill angle. Look at that bill shape. Long and narrow.
Yep.
This day in, day out's probably my favorite. The Deep X 300. I've played with the 100 and the 200. Seems like I can get her done with this bait. The other ones have a little more goofy, when you get into the 100 and 200, goofy bill angle and stuff. It's more pointed down.
Yeah, it's a little bit more angled.
So, and again, I'm not going to go into details how to do it. Your rod matters. I know Matt is definitely big on the whole braid to a leader on it. I've never seen where I've had to do it, but I also don't do it as much as I'd like to, honestly. It's I'm not going to talk about where I do it, to be honest. And then this is a discontinued bait. This is a Muscle Deep 15 Plus from Jackal. And again, you're in that narrow bill world. These baits don't pull as hard as you think they're going to pull with that big long bill.
They don't. They wind easy.
You put this on there, it pulls. This one pulls like a horse. This one doesn't.
But hold those up side by side again real quick.
Well, hang on. This one doesn't pull like a horse, but pulls way harder than that one does. But nothing pulls harder than that DD22.
But notice how round those bills are at the front.
Yeah.
And that Jackal on the right.
Yeah.
It's much more pointed.
Yeah. But the Megabass is rounded more.
Yeah, but it's not as wide.
Yeah, true. But yeah, speed cranking is definitely a deal.
So
what made sense to me once I seen it on the water was it was like taking the next step with a jerk bait. You know, like we've all seen videos of Kevin Van Dam like going to town with a jerk bait, like never pausing. Speed cranking is using the right type of crankbait to present a bait in that same fashion, in my opinion, at depths that you don't get with your jerk bait. That's what made sense to me the first time I seen it, and I was like, holy cow. And I will tell you that anymore today, I probably half my cranking is speed cranking, and it doesn't matter the time of year. I have caught on this little bait here, 48-degree water temperature, relatively with speed cranking it, smashing pre-spawn smallmouth, clear water, flat calm conditions. Nothing about that makes sense, right? Nothing. Right?
You're making them eat it.
They can't not eat it. They're mad at it.
Yes.
In that color. In that color.
When everybody else is teasing them with a minnow or swimming a hair jig or dragging a tube around them, trying to, match the hatch and get them to eat because it's what they're eating, you are making them eat speed cranking. You are taking advantage of that that reactionary impulse that those fish have. Yeah. That's what speed cranking is all about.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And that's that. I told you I'd hold it up. Tactical DD crank 75. To me, it's the best speed cranking crank ever built. Matt and Tim built it. This is my favorite color in it. I don't remember exactly what the color's called. It's a shad pattern with the mirror finish on it with the foil. But
yeah, it's sort of similar to this one. I think it's their
very similar
variant because it's not full chrome. It's like semi-transparent chrome.
Yeah, and it flat out catches them. I've caught them everywhere. Everywhere I fish that I'm deep cranking, I've caught them on that color.
Have you thrown the mega bass versus that crankbait?
I haven't. I don't even own one.
Okay.
I don't see a reason to because I catch them on that. Maybe you can convince me otherwise, but I catch them on it.
I have so many of those that I don't have a reason to buy that one.
There you go. They'll eat both of them.
They'll eat
it's
both.
Speed cranking. You're moving it so fast. I don't think it matters.
Most of the fish that I catch speed cranking, they don't see a crankbait, much less speed cranking.
Yeah, true.
So I know you know where I speed crank.
Yeah, I know where you speed crank. I'm not going to say it either.
Yep.
I got one more bait. Do you have anything else?
I think that's it. I think I hit everything. I guess I did, though. I want to end the podcast where we go by the depth or the type of fishing we're going to do, and we're both going to hold up the one bait because we've held up multiple baits for multiple things, and I'd like to just, what's the one square bill? You only pick one. We'll do that quick at the end. That won't take long. It'll be the speed round.
How about speed
you show your last bait.
Okay.
Yeah, you show the last bait, and then I'll handle the speed round.
Depth range. It's the last depth range that we haven't talked about. This thing got made famous, I don't know, maybe it was 12, probably something like 12 years ago. It's a crank that'll reach 30 feet.
Already. I think it's longer than that.
Is it 15 or more? Maybe.
Yeah,
Kentucky Lake, that's where it got made famous. It'll reach 30 foot. Guys were doing the whole, what the hell do they call that? Cast it out, use the trolling motor, dump a spool line and crank it down to 30
the plus. Original strolling.
The original strolling. It's not strolling a minnow. It's strolling a crankbait.
Yeah. But then they outlawed it. They made it so you can't do it.
Yeah.
They made a rule change.
Guys would, you can bomb this bait a mile to begin with, but they take the trolling motor and go the opposite direction and dump their spool line and crank it the whole way back in, and you're reaching 30 plus foot with the thing. But 10XD. I have done so much freaking damage with a 10XD. I've won multiple tournaments fishing it. There is something about the presence of this bait in the water. It's like a swim bait.
Yeah.
It thumps hard. It's big, but it's not that big. I'm throwing swim baits much bigger than this. Yeah, you think it's big. It feels big when you're fishing it because it is pulling hard.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
I have a 10XD story for you.
You
keep talking about it first.
Well,
and by the way, they launched it in the fall of 2012.
2012.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, it's been 14 years. So, primarily, that is a summertime bait for me. Primarily. There are times in the springtime when pre-spawn fish will get stacked up. And when I'm talking pre-spawn, I'm talking pre-spawn with big fish. If I'm dealing with 4+ pound fish stacked up on spots, getting ready to move up into a flat, and they're out in that 20+ foot depth range, that's when I'm picking that bait up. This bait specifically, this color, Sexy Shad, was part of a 40-pound bag. And that 40-pound bag, I'm pretty sure, I think I've said it before on this podcast, was the only 40-pound bag to ever be caught on that lake. That was a big part of that limit. I caught him on that. I caught him on a California swim jig. I caught them on a 3/4 ounce spinnerbait, and I caught them on a Huddleston, all in that same group of fish. But the one bait that made them fire like crazy, actually, it was the first bait that I threw in that school to make them fire, was a 10XD.
You didn't.
That I followed up with the other ones.
Do you feel that bait now works as good as it used to, or do you feel like it busts schools up now?
In certain situations, it will work just as good. Okay. And when I say certain situations, I feel like when they're in a school, it may bust them up. But when you're fishing a weed edge that's out in that 25-foot range, it will murder them. If they're, I've actually caught fish suspended over 65, 70 foot of water down in that 25 to 30 foot range, just winding this thing down.
Yeah.
Bait schools of bait were just total pelagic out in the middle of the lake, where guys are waiting for fish to push bait up to the surface. I'm throwing that thing out as far as I can, cranking it down through. There's a 4-pounder. Because they're not seeing that.
They're not.
And it creates a presence in the water. Well, they will come a long way to come see what the hell that is. And they've never seen that type of bait come through that water column out in the middle of the lake. So they'll eat it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's big. It has a presence. It has draw. I mean, but it's not giant. You know, you like, as a crankbait guy, giant. You think, oh my gosh, that's such a big crankbait, but it's relative.
It's a small bluegill. It's a small bluegill. It's a big shad. Like, and not even, it's a big threadfin shad. That's almost as big a threadfin as I've ever seen. Maybe 3 3/4 inches. We get threadfins pushing 5 inches here, but it's a big shad and a small bluegill. It's something that they regularly eat in their diet.
I took the first time, like I thought the same thing, and I was actually, the very first time I threw one, I'm sitting there looking at the rods in the rod ramp, you know, because I was the co-angler in the boat that day. It wasn't a tournament, I was just fishing with a guy, but I got a big jig, a 3/4 ounce or 1 ounce jig with a super chunk nose hooked on the back of it, and it's sitting right next to that 10XD, and I'm like, that ain't that big.
No.
But you're comparing it to that, the 5XD, which is, you know, a third my palm, but the 10XD is the size of my palm.
Yeah,
but it's heavy. I mean, what is it? 3 ounces?
I think a lot of it has to do with, let me just pick up that fat-free shad and put it side by side. Look at a lot of it has to do with the bill. Look how big that bill is.
Yeah.
Right? But look at the size of the body.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit bigger. It's not that much bigger.
It's not.
And this is a normal size crankbait. Like, guys will throw this without hesitation. They see this in the store. They're like, I ain't buying that thing. It's freaking 6 inches long. Well, half of it's the bill.
Throw the DD22 next to it. I mean, DD22 was one of the biggest crankbaits. Like, a lot of people, I remember them being like, man, DD22 is huge. I ain't throwing it. Oh, yeah. I mean,
much different.
No.
Yeah, top to bottom.
Yeah.
It's big. It's big.
It's big,
but it's not that big.
And it's like 3 ounces, right? I want to say they're 3 ounces.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
So the first time I'm on Gunnersville ledge fishing, and it came out like ICAST the summer before this. And it's like June or July. And I'm out there with Canterbury. And I've never thrown it before. Scott and I fished together multiple times. Always fish off the front deck of the boat together. Well, what you don't know is at that time, like, there wasn't really rods for it. There was rods you could do it with it, but it was like everything was a power lighter than it needed to be. I haul back with one of his composite crankbait rods and just give her a good old-fashioned crankbait cast. And his daughter Taylor's in the boat. She's like 12. She's in the back of the boat. So we're in a tight, like, me and Scott are going to fish shoulder to shoulder. I wallop him in the back of the head with that crankbait on a full bomb-ass cast as hard as you can imagine. He goes to the ground. Taylor's in the back of the boat looking at me, big eyes. I got big eyes. Scott's reels backlash.
What did you just do?
his hat's floating in the water. The 10XD's hanging on a hat 20 feet out into the lake. And Scott, I know he was seeing stars. And you want to talk about the loudest whoop you've ever heard. I don't know how his skull wasn't cracked or that bait wasn't cracked in half, because that's how loud it was. It sounded like, you ever hear like a shotgun slug hit a barrel? That's what it sounded like. It sounded like a round hitting a barrel out of a suppressed deal, like just whack. Oh man, laugh. Oh, did we laugh? Scott even eventually laughed, but
eventually, after he woke up.
He's sitting on that front deck on one knee, just silence. And you're trying not to laugh. Taylor's trying not to laugh. We're both waiting to be like, okay, how mad's he gonna be when he comes to? Maybe he won't remember what happened, is what you're hoping. All right, speed round. All right,
go for it.
One square bill, not a finesse shallow crank. Square bill. Go. Number one. You got one. You can only pick one. Speed trap.
Speed trap.
Speed trap.
All Tried and true.
Mine's Fat John. Probably already said that. All right. Shallow finesse crank. Fritz side. Mine is actually going to be, can't get it anymore, Lucky Craft. Flat mini
DT6.
MR. Nope. I don't consider that one shallow finesse.
Okay.
I would say that's mid depth, All right. So next, mid depth. 5 to 8 foot. You get to pick one.
5 to 8. Okay.
Yeah.
DT8.
DT8. See, now I am gonna say DT6. This saying a 6, but close enough. DT6.
Yep.
Okay. So we're gonna go the 12-foot class of deep divers. Rock crawler.
And 12 is, you said 8 foot on that last range. 12 is pushing it for a rock crawler. It's 10 foot is a rock crawler.
Yeah.
10 foot and shallower, really.
You know what? I'm actually surprising myself even. DT10.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
I hate to say it. DT10. DT10.
That's the first one you're going to pick up.
It's not. But if somebody told me that I can only pick one the rest of my life, it's going to be that DT10. I feel like it does the most of that style of bait. Like this would be a close. I almost picked it up. 5XD.
No, I would agree with you.
It's a little more versatile. A little more versatile, in my 100%. Opinion. All right, true deep diver.
Oh, dude, that's
14 to
not
20.
Extra deep, right?
14 to 20.
That is hard. But I'm going to go with DD22. I almost picked up the fat free shad, but DD22.
And this is going to surprise me because this is going to surprise me. I'm going to surprise myself.
Okay. Let's talk real quick about these two. Just hold them up side by side.
Very different.
Different build.
But that's the thing.
Hold them up. Bill angle. A little different.
Yeah.
D22 is a little bit more angled than the.
I'll tell you why I picked this. I'll tell you why I picked this. This bait for me, I've caught a lot of fish suspended with this bait, and I've caught a lot of fish off the bottom on this bait, cranking it in the bottom. Because of that, I'm going to pick this. I feel almost like this is a
real quick. Hold that up again.
Extremely similar.
Much more similar.
Yeah,
I feel like these two baits are in the same class. Basically, the DD22 is more versatile than the fat free shad.
And I'd probably, if I had the two sizes of fat free shad I talked about, that probably would have been my 12 and 16 foot deep diving crankbait. I would have picked those two, but like I said, the 10 edges out the 5XD a little bit, but I mean, you saw me hold up a lot of Spro stuff, but I mean, if day in, day out versatility, like I feel like they're, a precise tool, not a universal tool. All right.
Yeah.
Speed crank, number one speed crank. You can only pick one, no matter what depth you're fishing. You can only pick one.
I already said it. Tactical.
And mine's going to be the, Deep X 300, which I think is about the same bait. I mean, as far as depth and size and all that.
Pretty much. Very, very close.
Okay. Very good if you're 8 foot of water. Very good if you're 12 foot of water. And, you're just going to be out of luck after that.
And then you didn't have anything in that extra deep category.
It would be a 10.
But obviously, mine is a 10XD. There are other options. Duo Realis makes one that goes 25 foot plus. But day in, day out, I'm picking up a 10XD.
Now there's a bait that I thought me and you had been talking about, and maybe it's just me jumping to conclusion of that what bait you were talking about. But what I didn't see you hold up is a Berkeley dime.
No, you had that confused with the Fritz side. I own some dimes. I do not throw them.
Okay.
I haven't thrown them enough to really make a good decision or a good reason why I shouldn't be throwing them, but I don't throw them very much.
Would you say they compare to the action of a DT8?
No.
The build profile is similar.
No,
more than it is a DT6.
I wouldn't. No, it's got more vibration than a DT8.
Okay.
I'd say that it's closer to a deep little N, honestly.
Oh.
Yeah. It doesn't pull as hard.
Yeah, weed cranking. You're not a weed cranking. If I had to pick one crankbait to weed crank with, it would be a deep little N.
Yeah.
I feel like weeds, a lot of times, it's more about being above them than under them. So deep little N gets the job done. So there you go. Speed round.
Actually, probably closer to 10X or a 10XD. A DT10. Probably closer to a DT10 than a deep little N.
Okay.
Because the DT10 doesn't have all that much pull either.
No, and that's sort of what a DT8 is supposed to be. DT8 is supposed to be a DT6 of a DT10.
Yeah, but it's DT8 and a DT10 are not the same bait. Yeah. DT10 pulls harder than a DT8 for sure.
Oh shit!
So I'd say that dime is right there with the DT10, real close.
All right.
But
all right. Anything else? Oh, line.
Yeah.
Line. You want to talk about line?
Okay. Yeah. Let's talk about line. I'm a little pissed off about line because I've been